I need to tell you about the worst decision I ever made. The decision that cost me, well, everything really. My sense of reality, my peace of mind, my ability to trust what I see. People always say curiosity killed the cat, but they never talk about what happens when curiosity doesn't kill you. When it just changes you, leaves you different, broken. My name's Tyler, and I'm a caver. Or I was. I used to explore caves all over the Southwest, documenting unmapped systems, pushing into places no one had been before. I was good at it. Careful. Experienced. I knew the rules. I followed safety protocols. But none of that mattered when I found the entrance near Carlsbad, New Mexico. None of that prepared me for what was waiting inside. It was late March. I'd been hiking in the Guadalupe Mountains, exploring some of the less traveled areas around Carlsbad Caverns National Park, looking for new cave systems, new entrances. That's what I do, or did. I had my gear, headlamp, backup lights, rope, water, food, GPS, radio, everything by the book. I was maybe 5 miles from the main tourist caves when I found it. A crack in the limestone, narrow, maybe 18 inches wide. Easy to miss if you weren't looking, but I was looking. And something about it. Something about the way the air moved, cold and steady, told me it opened into something bigger. I marked the location on my GPS. Took photos. This is standard procedure. You document everything before you go in. You tell people where you're going. You don't explore alone. But I didn't have anyone with me that day. And I told myself I'd just look. Just stick my head in. See if it was worth coming back to with a team. Just a quick peek. That's all. I should have known better. I should have walked away. I squeezed through the crack. Had to turn sideways. My chest pressed against one side, my back against the other. The rock was cold, rough. I inched forward. 5 feet. 10 feet. Then the passage opened. I emerged into a chamber, small, maybe 10 feet across. But I could feel airflow, strong airflow, coming from a passage on the far side. This wasn't just a pocket. This was an entrance to something bigger, something unexplored. I should have left then, marked it, come back prepared. But the passage ahead, it was calling me. That's the only way I can describe it. Like the cave wanted me to go deeper, wanted me to see what was inside. I told myself I'd go just a little further, just to the next chamber. Then I'd turn back, document it properly, do it right. But caves don't work that way. Once you start going deeper, turning back gets harder. The pull gets stronger. The passage sloped downward, gentle at first, then steeper. I had to brace myself, hands and feet, moving carefully. The walls were smooth, too smooth. Not the rough texture you expect in natural limestone, but worn, like water had polished them for centuries, or like something had been moving through here, repeatedly. Wearing the stone smooth with passage after passage after passage, I descended maybe 50 feet. The passage opened into another chamber, bigger this time. My headlamp couldn't find the far wall. The ceiling disappeared into darkness above me. I swept my light around. Stalactites hung like teeth. Stalagmites rose from the floor like bones. And in the center, a pool. Black water, perfectly still, like glass, like a mirror. I approached carefully, knelt at the edge, looked down into the water, and I saw myself, looking back up, but wrong. The reflection was smiling. I wasn't smiling. The reflection waved. I didn't move. I scrambled back, my heart hammering. When I looked again, the reflection was normal, just me, perfectly mirrored. I told myself it was the light, the angle, my eyes adjusting, but my hands were shaking. I heard something then, a sound, coming from deeper in the cave. Not wind, not water, something else. Like breathing? No, not breathing. More like movement. Something sliding across stone. Slow, steady, coming closer. I called out. Hello? Anyone down here? My voice echoed, bounced off the walls, came back distorted. Anyone? 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 Then silence. The sliding sound stopped. Whatever it was, it had heard me. I should have left. Right then. Should have climbed back up that passage, squeezed back through that crack, gone home. But I didn't, because now I needed to know. Needed to see what was down here. What had made that sound? That's the thing about fear. Sometimes it doesn't make you run. Sometimes it freezes you. Makes you stupid. Makes you curious. There was another passage, leading away from the pool, larger than the others. I could walk upright. My footsteps echoed strangely. Too loud, too sharp. The walls were getting smoother, almost polished, and there were marks, scratches, running along the walls at waist height, long, parallel, like something with claws had dragged itself through here. But the scratches were old, filled with mineral deposits, centuries old, maybe older. The passage turned, then turned again. I was losing track of direction, going deeper. The air was getting colder. I could see my breath. That wasn't right. Caves maintain a constant temperature, usually around 55 degrees. Cool but not cold. Not this cold. Not cold enough to see your breath. I checked my thermometer. 42 degrees. And dropping. I entered another chamber. Massive. Cathedral-sized. My light couldn't reach the ceiling. Couldn't reach the far walls. Just disappeared into darkness. And the floor was wrong. Perfectly flat. Perfectly smooth. Not natural. No cave floor is that smooth. That level. This looked carved. Intentionally shaped. I walked across it. My footsteps echoing like I was in an empty auditorium. The sound bouncing back from walls I couldn't see. Distances I couldn't measure. That's when I noticed the formations. Shapes rising from the floor. Spaced evenly. Too evenly. I approached one. Shined my light on it. It looked like a pillar. Carved. Decorated. With symbols. Not random. Not natural erosion. Symbols. Deliberate. Repeating. Running up the length of the pillar in spiral patterns. I touched one. The stone was warm. How was it warm? Everything else was freezing. But this was warm. Almost hot. Like something alive. I heard the sound again. That sliding. Closer now. Much closer. Coming from behind me. I spun. My light cutting through the darkness. Shadows danced. Shifted. But I saw nothing. Just empty stone. Empty space. "Who's there?" I shouted. The echo came back wrong. Not my voice. Something close to my voice, but not quite. Like someone was mimicking me. Mocking me. "Who's there? Who's there? Who's there?" Getting quieter. Getting further away. Moving into the darkness. I ran. Back toward the passage I'd come from. But the chamber. It was bigger than I remembered. I ran for what felt like minutes. My lungs burning. My light bouncing. And the passage. Where was the passage? I should have reached it. Should have found the exit. But there was just more chamber. More darkness. More of that perfectly smooth floor stretching endlessly in every direction. I stopped. Tried to breathe. Tried to think. This was impossible. The chamber couldn't be this big. Couldn't extend this far. I'd walked maybe 100 feet into it, but I'd just run for 5 minutes and hadn't found the edge. I pulled out my GPS. No signal. That was expected underground. But the device, it was acting strange. The screen flickering, showing my position, then showing nothing, then showing my position miles away, then showing multiple positions, like I was in several places at once. I heard footsteps. Not my footsteps. Other footsteps. Multiple sets. Coming from all directions. Surrounding me. Getting closer. I swept my light in a circle. Nothing. Just darkness. Just those pillars standing silent in the distance. But the footsteps kept coming. Closer. Closer. I could hear breathing now. That same sound from before. But multiplied. Overlapping. Dozens of sources. All around me. All closing in. I picked a direction. Any direction. Started running again. The footsteps followed, matched my pace, stayed just out of sight, just beyond the reach of my light. I ran until my legs screamed, until my light started to dim, the battery dying. No, not now. Not now. I had backup lights. I stopped, fumbled in my pack, pulled out a backup headlamp, switched them. The fresh light blazed bright, illuminating a wall right in front of me, 10 feet away. Solid stone. I'd been running toward a wall, but I'd been running for so long. How had I not seen it? I turned. More walls. The chamber had shrunk. I was in a small space now, maybe 20 feet across, enclosed, trapped. But that was impossible. I'd just been in a massive cavern. I'd been running for... I looked at my watch. It said 2:17 p.m. The same time it had been when I entered the cave. But I'd been down here for hours. Had to have been hours. I checked my phone. 2:17 p.m. Same time. Time had stopped. Or looped. Or I'd lost it. Lost time. Lost direction. Lost everything. The walls started to move. Not quickly. Slowly. Grinding. Like stone sliding over stone. Getting closer. The space getting smaller. I pressed against one wall. It was warm. Pulsing. Like the pillar. Like something alive. The breathing sound was everywhere now. Not around me. The walls. The walls were breathing. The cave was breathing. I wasn't in a cave. I was inside something. Something alive. Something that had let me in. Lured me in. And now, my light went out. Both lights. Both batteries. Dead. Complete darkness. Absolute darkness. The kind of darkness that doesn't exist on the surface. The kind where you can't see your hand in front of your face. Can't see anything, just nothing. And in that nothing, I felt something touch my shoulder. Cold, solid, real. Fingers. Too many fingers. Too long. Wrapping around my shoulder. Gripping. Holding. I screamed. Tore away. Ran blindly into the darkness. Hit a wall. Fell. Scrambled up. Ran again, my hands out, feeling, searching, finding passages, narrow passages. I squeezed through, climbed, pulled myself up, following air, following instinct, following the desperate animal need to get out, get away, get to the surface. I don't know how long I crawled, how many passages I squeezed through, how many times I fell, how many wrong turns I took. But eventually I saw light, real light. Daylight. The crack. The entrance. I pulled myself through, tore my jacket, scraped my arms, didn't care. I emerged onto the hillside, into the afternoon sun, into the real world. I collapsed, gasping, shaking, alive. I checked my GPS. I'd been inside for 7 hours. 7 hours. But it had felt like days. My equipment was ruined. My lights dead. My radio smashed. I stumbled back to my car, drove straight home. I didn't file a report, didn't tell anyone where I'd been. I just left. Left New Mexico, left caving, left everything. Because I know what I found. I know what's down there. And it's still there. Still waiting. Still breathing. Still luring people in with narrow cracks and cold air and the promise of unexplored darkness. I have nightmares about it. About being back in that chamber, in that shrinking space, in that darkness, feeling those fingers on my shoulder. And sometimes when I close my eyes, I can still hear it. That breathing, that sliding, like it followed me out. Like part of me is still down there, lost in the dark, walking through those impossible chambers, forever. If you want to hear more terrifying accounts from explorers who ventured into places that weren't meant to be found, make sure to subscribe to Campfire Nightmares. And here's what I need to know. Have you ever been underground and felt like the space around you was wrong? Like you'd entered something that was aware of you? Share what you felt in the comments, because I think there are more places like this. More caves that aren't really caves. More things waiting in the dark beneath our feet.